Hello everybody, my name is Dr. Chris O'Neill, and I wanted to make this video on YouTube to announce that I have made my own textbook on introductory statistics. And I think it's going to be very helpful for you if you are taking this class in high school or in college and need some extra help. Just a bit about myself. My name is Dr. Chris O'Neill, and I have a PhD in statistics from the University of Georgia. And when I was doing my PhD, I taught statistics as a class there, as an assistantship that I had at the time, and I really enjoyed it, and my students really seemed to enjoy it as well. So I decided to take my notes that I used for that class and turn them into my own textbook. This is my textbook. It's called Chris Notes, a set of notes for introductory statistics. It's available on Amazon.com, and self-published paperback, and it's 380 pages long. And I think you will find it very helpful when taking your class as a little supplemental guide. So the reason it's helpful is because if you just open to some sample pages, you've got some everything that's important is boxed, and there are plenty of examples in here to explain what's going on. I've also made a lot of graphs in here, a lot of sketches, like these of the lovely normal distribution here, which you're probably familiar with by now. If not, then you certainly will be very soon. And so all the concepts in here are carefully explained. In case you're wondering about the choice of front cover photograph, one of my hobbies is bird watching and nature photography. I took this photo a few years ago of sandhill cranes during migration, and this was obviously at sunsets when they were coming in to land on some mud for the night. And I thought this would be a neat image to throw it onto the front cover. One of my example problems in this book actually talks about sandhill cranes in the context, but you have to purchase the book to find out where that example is. So just a little Easter egg there. And I'm now going to talk to you about the general topics that are in this book. The book is divided into 11 chapters plus a few appendices in the back of the book. So chapter 1 is about just your basic introduction to what statistics is, including how to interpret some graphs, especially with categorical data. Chapter 2 is going to be about summarizing data. This would involve your typical, your mean, median, and mode, and standard deviation, and box plots, and all that good stuff. Chapter 3 is about correlation and regression, so your typical topics that you might learn in a first course or two about regression, but obviously scaled down to what you might see only in introductory statistics, so we won't get into much detail there. Chapter 4 is about just various sampling methods and differences between observations and experiments, because that will come into play later in the course, and especially for those of you that go on to take higher courses in statistics. Chapter 5 is where things get really interesting. That's probability. So you get to see all the formulas for probability that you probably would see in an intro class. There are some more advanced ones which we don't necessarily go into, which brings us to chapter 6. Chapter 6 is going to be about distributions, starting off with discrete ones and expected values, and then moving on to the normal distribution, which is probably one of the most important things you will see in this class, because the normal distribution feeds into just about everything else you will see in the second half of the book and the course you're in. It's really important to understand how that naughty normal distribution works, because you will see it everywhere. So you've got to learn it here. And then chapter 7 talks about sampling distributions. That is when you look at the distribution of how sample means behave, or sample proportions, so what they do. Finally, we get into chapter 8, which is about confidence intervals. And so this is important for statistical analysis, especially for those of you that go on to use statistics in other majors. The next important chapter on that regard is chapter 9, which is about hypothesis tests. So both chapters 8 and 9 will focus on confidence interval testing and hypothesis testing of a mean and a proportion in a sample. That would then lead into chapter 10, which is about hypothesis testing for means and proportions, but the differences of those. So the difference of two means and difference of two proportions, that's important to understand as well. And then chapter 11, which is the longest chapter in the book, it takes up about a quarter of, about 25% of this whole book here. That's about chi-square testing, goodness of fit, and independence tests. But then also we talk about some extra topics that maybe your class will teach you, maybe not. Those topics include hypothesis testing of a sample variance and hypothesis testing of ratio of two population variances. And then the last topic in this book is about one-way ANOVA. So some of those topics, well, most of those topics you are going to see in your class. There might be a few that you might not see, in which case you can just skip those sections. Or, of course, if you are up to the challenge, you can read those anyway, just try to teach yourself the material if you so wish. And then finally, after all of that, some appendices are back here. My book focuses on using the TI-84 graphing calculator, Texas Instrument 84. Every statistics class has to use some form of technology to find some of the answers. So, for some of you, you might be using tables in the backs of the book. And for this course, we're going to do the TI-84. And so throughout the book, I have, in appropriate parts in the chapters, the commands that you need to use for that calculator. Well, one of the appendices has all the commands in one place, so that's going to be helpful as well. Another appendix, of course, has all the important formulas you need to know. And then finally, the rest of the appendices are about those tables that you are probably used to seeing in the backs of your own statistics textbooks. Because, after all, no statistics book is complete without setting the tables. Yeah, I know, a bad joke. So anyway, this is my textbook. It is available on Amazon.com at the link provided in the description. I hope you consider purchasing it. It's on there for $19.99. It's also available on other Amazon websites like Amazon.co.uk for England and Amazon.co.fr for France, etc. The book is in English, as you probably guessed. Thank you very much for watching my video, and please consider subscribing to my channel because I am also thinking about making other videos explaining different statistical concepts, especially the trickier ones that you might be having a hard time. So watch out for my channel for videos like that. I am also going to be making some other books and videos about other mathematical topics. The other area of math that I'm really interested in is calculus. And I am in the process of writing a book for that one as well that follows pretty much the same format as this one. Yes, there will be another wildlife photography photograph of some sort on that book, but you will have to wait until the book comes out to find out what that cover will look like. Sorry to make you wait. So in the meantime, I will be posting some videos about different concepts in statistics, probably calculus as well, about some of the trickier topics and how you might choose to work those. In the meantime, I hope you consider purchasing my statistics book. So once again, it's called Chris Notes, a set of notes for introductory statistics. You'll find it on Amazon, and just look out for that lovely front cover with the sandhill cranes flying across the sky at sunset. Probably no other statistics book ever made has had a photograph like that on the front cover, which is why I thought it would be rather eye-catching. And like I said earlier, I enjoy taking photographs of just wildlife and of nature in general, and just scenic photographs. So I thought something like that would be good for my front cover. So thank you very much for listening to my video, and thank you for subscribing to my channel. Please consider buying my book, and I really hope you find it useful. If you do purchase my book, thank you very much for doing that. Please consider leaving an Amazon review for it, as well as comments below in this video about what you think about it. And I look forward to doing more videos with you and having you watch my videos and seeing what comes your way on my channel. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day.